Hello, my dears. Daniela here, and welcome to another episode of the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. I'm super excited to share this week's episode with you because I have my friend Tara Walsh on the show. Maybe you don't recognize that name, but you sure as heck will recognize the Lashpreneur. So when it comes to education for lash artists, there is no one better, in my opinion, than Tara. So Tara is extremely strong in business fundamentals. She's super passionate about sharing advice to empower the lash artist and minimize the learning curve that it takes to build a successful business. Now, even if you're not a lash artist, you don't want to miss this interview because there are lots of pearls of wisdom that can be applied to any spa business. I know that a lot of our Growth Factor members, which is our high-level coaching and mastermind program, they're in a space in their business where they're expanding their team and considering to bring on a lash artist to complement the services that they're already offering. So having Tara at my disposal on this interview, I asked her, what is the best way to find a great lash artist? Like, how do we go about that process? How do we incorporate someone phenomenal on our team? And I loved her answer. We were totally aligned. So sit back, relax, enjoy this episode. And without further ado, let's go ahead and play that interview. All right, Tara, I'm so excited to have you on the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. I feel like this has been like years in the making.
Years in the making. I think I found you when you were pregnant with your first child. So that's how long I've been following you.
Oh my gosh. And now I'm hugely pregnant with my second child.
God's
I'm like counting the days until he comes out. I'm like,
been there.
So you are someone who I respect very much. I love seeing other people, other women, other industry leaders really just stepping up into the education space. I feel like that's something that we just need so badly in our industry. And you're making such a positive impact for lash artists. And I know you are the Lashpreneur, right? You focus on lashes and all of that, but a lot of the content that you teach is relevant to the entire spa industry.
Agreed. Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of the lash artists, I'm sure all the lash artists know who you are, but for estheticians that maybe are not into lashes, can you just give a little background?
Absolutely. What I teach is business principles. I just use lash artists or lash businesses as the examples I give to kind of reinforce the business principles. I have had dog groomers reach out to me saying my content is very relevant to them. So, there's that.
But I started dog groomer.
Right. It's grooming. So I started off, I have a college degree in business management, went into the corporate world, was in sales and marketing and new business development for 8 years until I just got so sick of the rat race. And it became, I left the corporate world, went back to working at a restaurant, which I loved, but we were trying to start a family. And there were a lot of hiccups and issues with that. I ended up having a miscarriage. And that was really my moment in time where if I was going to make a pivot in careers, that was it. And something that I always loved to do was get facials, get massage, get my hair done. So I thought, I'll go to beauty school. I didn't want to take 2 years in cosmetology school. So I just went the aesthetics route. And my time in beauty school, I loved lashes. I had had them for my wedding a couple years before, and they were ugly as sin. And now new curls were coming out and different application techniques. So I thought I would be a jack of all trades and do waxing, facials, and lashes. And then I realized
everyone has skin. So
right, like anybody with eyeballs, I'm your girl. I'll put lashes on you. That's not the most profitable way to go about things. I found is being, a one-stop shop. I discovered that people would rather pay more money for a specialist in one area than, spend $500 or $600 getting all their services at one time with me. So I found I had a love for lashes. And so I started to focus on that a little bit more. And eventually I, saw what other people in my industry were doing, which was going out on their own and starting a business. And like most people, I'm like, sure, why not? Like I got to make way more money than I'm making now as an employee. that didn't really work out too well. So I started my own business in 2015 and struggled for several months until I finally invested every last dime I had into a business coach. And it was through her coaching me that I actually realized I actually knew a lot about running a business. I just needed the application to my lash business. And once that happened, within 6 months of opening my doors, I was profitable. And then within 8 months, I was fully booked. And at my peak, I was doing a little over $8,000 a month, working about 14 days a month. So I was A-okay with that. But in true entrepreneurial fashion, I got bored and I wanted something more. And so I thought maybe I'll add on staff. So I started going down that path and realized I didn't want to tell grown adults to get off their phone all day long. So then I realized from free Facebook groups that I was a part of that I actually was drawn to giving business advice and giving suggestions. And it was actually a little bit unique and different than what was commonly being said in my industry. And so the Lashpreneur was born. And I started off doing 1-minute lash biz tip of the days on Instagram. And 3 years later, here I am.
Here you are. Well, you're making an incredible impact. And one thing that I want to really point out is, and talk about a little bit more, because this is something that comes up a lot, is really finding your niche. So you knew from the beginning, well, not the very beginning, you started out wanting to do all the things, but then you really focused on lashes. And then even when you went into the education space, you focused on lashpreneurs.
Yes.
Lash artist, whatever.
Which is a scary thing. I get that it's this scary thing of, oh my gosh, if I niche down too much, am I saying that I can't teach other people? And I definitely had this battle within myself of, do I really focus on lash artists, or do I focus on all of the beauty industry, or do I take it even broader than that? But with the amount of competition with business coaches, even just in the beauty world, it just meant a different strategy. It wasn't that I couldn't be successful at it, but with the lash world, there was a huge area of opportunity and a huge gap in the marketplace that I knew my people wanted this information, and they just didn't have a resource in our industry that helped with that. So the fact that I'm a retired lash artist now, but that I speak their language, I understand, if they have retention issues, ways to navigate that. And it just became kind of a big fish in a small pond kind of situation. And for me, I see that as an opportunity for me to kind of practice my methodology of coaching, practice how I want to run my business in this small niche, that eventually I can then implement that in whatever niche I want to go to or expand however I want to. I'm just kind of experimenting with my lash artist community on what I want in a business and what and how to grow it and how to be profitable at it first.
But I think what you said that really stood out to me is, I speak their language, and that is so, so important for all the estheticians to hear. Whatever if you're a permanent makeup artist, if you are a wax specialist, if you're focusing on anti-aging, all of these different areas or niches of our industry have their own language.
Yes.
Right?
Well, and the problems that you solve are different.
Right.
So for instance, what I use in my world is, you have the Kylie Jenners and you have the Kris Jenners. If you have, if you're niching yourself down for anti-aging versus trying to make somebody look more mature or more dramatic, they have different pain points that you're solving. So if I'm trying to talk to the Kris Jenners of the world and talk about, you can look older and more mature and more sophisticated, she doesn't want that. She wants to look younger. Whereas the Kylie Jenners of the world want to look older and more mature and more sophisticated. It's just your language and your messaging changes based on the audience that you're trying to attract in.
Yeah, that's so, so important. So since you're such an expert in the lash world, I really want to showcase and kind of use that to our advantage, because we do have a lot of lash artists
My
in
people.
our community, your people. And something that I hear quite frequently is them coming to me and saying, I have so many lash clients. It makes up 80% of my business, but I don't like doing lashes.
Yep.
So
kind of got yourself stuck in a little hole, huh?
It's something that you can be really good at, but it's tedious. It takes a long time. It's maybe there's other passions that they want to do. How do you help individuals? Like, do you have lash artists that come to you and say that same kind of thing? And what advice do you have for them because we work, right? We've got to have fun doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Fun is a core value in our company. And it's something that if you're going to spend however much time a week away from your family, your friends, your kids, you better make sure that you're happy doing what you want to do. You don't want to be like doing lashes and like, I hate this. I hate this. Because your client's not going to like that energy either.
That's how I feel about email marketing, but it's fine. So I think, and this is just where I love the mindset of an entrepreneur, I would actually start to dive down. What is the core issue that they don't like it? Is it that it's just the application and the tedious nature of it? Because for me as a lash artist, I struggle with anxiety. So it was actually very peaceful to have somebody just be calm. They were asleep and I would just go to work doing my artistry. So actually I loved the tedious nature of it because I got to like calm myself down internally. But I can see where it's not for everybody. And if the majority of their clients are coming to them for a service that they don't enjoy, I would actually start to look at their marketing funnel and see they're probably marketing lashes more so than any other services, or maybe they understand the benefits or the problem they solve with lashes that maybe they're struggling to identify with the other services they do want to do. So there's a couple of different ways you can go about the transition from being like the go-to lash girl into whatever service, whether it's skincare, whether it's waxing that they want to get into, is utilize what you already have going and start to transition the current clients you have into the other services. You can do that by way of upsells. You can do it as value adds. So a lot of my lash clients, I would turn into wax clients. It was very easy while they were already laying down for me to do a quick brow wax or a lip wax to get them introduced to other things that I offer. And if I wanted to have more waxing clients or I wanted to have more facial clients, I would try to incentivize my current lash clients to take advantage of those services or refer their friends for those services. So you've already got the hard part done. You have a paying client in the door. Now it's just an area of opportunity of where can I take them and where can I start to provide more value to them since they already trust me enough with their lashes. There's a lot of area of opportunity there to demonstrate your expertise for other things that you love to do or that you're passionate about or that you want to test out on them when you've already built that trust and that relationship through the eyelash extension service.
And one thing that I want to point out, when we talk about niching down, just because you're positioning yourself as a lash artist or as a lash specialist or whatever niche you have, that doesn't mean that you can't offer other services.
What? Absolutely. 100%. 100%.
It's how you market yourself. It's how people find you.
How you get people in the door.
Yes. And you build the know, like, and trust factor with them, and then you can go on. I think it is important to have kind of a centralized theme. Like I noticed that a lot of, like if you're a wax specialist, maybe you're doing lash extensions, or maybe you're doing lash lifts or spray tans or something, and then the people that are really into the anti-aging, maybe they have those different modalities, but it's super important to find what you're passionate about and what you're comfortable educating your clients about.
Yeah.
But having that one thing that you are the specialist in, using that to get people in the door, and then letting them know about your different offerings. Super, super.
Yeah. And you got to think about the psychology behind the consumer and what it is that they're looking for. And usually if you want to make a fairly decent living in our beauty industry, you have to charge a certain price point. Like it varies on your location and your country and all of that, but you have to have some sort of premium pricing to be able to have the larger business or the six-figure income that, we all kind of are aspiring to have. And when you're thinking about the level of consumer sophistication and just kind of what they're looking for, they're generally not, those that are willing to pay a premium price and are not using maybe a Groupon to find you, they're looking for a trusted expert or somebody who can give them a different experience than if they just randomly walked into a place and said, hey, do you do lashes? For the most part, your audience and my audience as well, we're affecting how they physically look in the world. And so that is a very high trust relationship they have to have with you. And so your marketing helps to build that trust. And so when you niche yourself down and you say you're a specialist in one area, they're more likely to have that trust with you because you are specialized in one area. And the example I use for this is Brazilian waxing. Now, if somebody is willing to pay 50, 60 bucks or more for Brazilian wax, do you think they're going to let you sit there for an hour and just like experiment trying to figure out how to rip the wax off? I had that experience where my friend, bless her heart, was a brand new waxer. And she's like, hey, come in for a Brazilian wax. And I paid a premium price, but she left the room because she couldn't get it off of me. And so I had to then peel it off myself. So if you're thinking, I know, I'm traumatized from it, but if you're thinking about, would you rather pay $60 for somebody who can get you in and out 15 minutes, very minimal pain in that special place? Or would you rather pay 30 bucks and be stuck there for 45 minutes to an hour? Most often, the consumer psychology is that if I'm paying more, I'm getting an expert. Right. And so if you start to market yourself that, you can then justify a higher price point or a volume of clientele to get you in and get you out. Plus, the more you're doing it, the more expert you become. And you can experiment with different ways of educating your clients when you are actually putting your methodology or your knowledge out there and informing your clients on whether it's aftercare, whether it's the retail products that you're selling, or whether it's, how to prevent ingrowns. When you start to help educate your clients, it builds so much more trust. And that then becomes your own speaker box that your client then goes out and shares stuff to their friends that maybe their wax artist or their lash artist or their esthetician is not sharing with them.
So for me, I know when I got my eyebrows microbladed, I was like searching all over in the DC area. I ended up going all the way to Baltimore.
Wow.
Because I was like looking for the right person who was going to, do my brows, I was looking everywhere. And if I saw someone that charged, I paid $1,000 for mine. Oh, dang. And there were plenty of people that were charging $500-$600. If they were in the lower range, I just deleted them in my search because I'm like, these are my eyebrows and this is semi-permanent. And if someone's doing this, they sure as heck better be very good at what they're doing. And for me, it was like that premium price point. Like, this is all that they do. This is their, 100%, that's their focus. And while I had some, kind of feedback about their follow-up and that kind of stuff, I think that they did a great job. Like, I was happy with the service and all of that. But it's like, as I'm talking with some of these permanent makeup artists that are like, oh, I don't want to raise my prices or whatever. I'm like, look, I know you're good at what you do, but if I am not your coach, if I'm not whatever, and I'm just seeing that price point, I'm not going to go to you.
There is a section of the marketplace that thinks that something is lacking when you are below a certain price point.
Yes.
For sure. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't be affordable in whatever service it is. Just understand that it takes the same amount of work to draw in, the middle range clients as it does the high end clients. It's not like 7 times more hours on social media that you have to spend in order to get to a premium price audience. But it's just learning that what their needs are maybe different than somebody who's just needs something affordable. And there's no right or wrong for either one of them. It's just, I know I get a lot of resistance on price increase too, because they think, oh my gosh, that's going to limit the amount of people that I have that come into my business. But at a higher price point, you don't have to work as much as you do at the lower price point.
100%. So, all right, let's shift this conversation a little bit because another question that I get a lot from my audience that I think you would be just the perfect person to answer is, how do I find a good lash artist to come in and work with me? So a lot of our listeners are in a position that they're doing really well as solo estheticians. They're ready to kind of expand and create their own spa. They're wanting to hire their first or second employee, and they are wanting to bring in specifically a lash artist. It's something that can expand their menu of services, but not necessarily compete with their additional clients. So
Right.
how do you find someone who is a really good lash artist? What are you looking for? What language should they be using to find someone to come in?
Yeah, I think the struggles that you're up against in competition with, trying to find an employee versus just bringing in, like, say, a booth renter, is that even in my industry, there is this assumption that you make more money out on your own. It's not the case, but that is the belief. So you have to present your opportunity for them to work under you as almost a no-brainer. And that kind of includes not just pay, because pay is very unmotivating, because if you just offer them 50% commission, it's really hard for you as the business owner to be profitable. And you're likely building a culture of kind of this entitled, well, I'm making 50%, like, why should I have to do anything else? So even just establishing the culture of your business in your job posting can help repel the wrong kind of people that are just looking to build a clientele and then take them away. But also just kind of start to attract the people that really buy into what it is that you're building as the business owner. And this applies to any business, whether it's spa, whether it's tire shops, is if you have a certain culture or a certain type of person that you want, you have to be able to put that out there in the job posting itself. Most job postings are, hey, part-time hours must be available on weekends, competitive pay, great benefits, blah, blah, blah. It's all the same. So if you already have this is what it's like to work here. This job is right for you if you X, Y, and Z. And so you're almost tying in the value of the culture so that your team that you're building out buys into the vision of what you want or what you're trying to put out in there. One of my high-level mastermind clients loves the community service aspect. She loves that her business gives back to the community. And so in her job postings, she is sharing that it's not just about making women look and feel beautiful, which in itself is of a culture, right? But also that they give back and they volunteer and they are very immersed in the community. So it does well for their PR, for her public relations, for her spa, but also the type of people that she has that come in. If you're the type of person that's just going to show up, clock in, not be a team player and just kind of do your services and go home, you're not likely going to fit in with the culture that she's building. So having clarity on what you offer to any employee, whether it's a lash artist or not, that would make it more enticing, more appealing for them to not go out on their own. Because I know I'm sure that happens in your industry too, that there's this perception that you're going to make so much more money out on your own when that's not reality necessarily.
Yeah, I think it depends, but it depends on if that's what you feel called to do.
Yeah.
I think that there's so much possibility and opportunity in this industry, but you have to be of the entrepreneurial mindset, because
Right.
when you go solo, it's not just like, if you build it, they will come. It's you're doing all of the treatments and then you're also having this whole other job of marketing the business, of, like all the things of social media and retail and inventory and customer service and all. You have a whole nother job.
And you have to have accountability for that, because nobody's breathing down your neck. Like, you got to get this stuff done until maybe tax time comes along and you haven't done your taxes.
Right. No. And it's so funny because I'm like, okay, we're girls speaking my love language here. We were talking about the job posting in our Growth Factor program. Two of the first resources that we released in there, that we have in there, are like templated job postings for front desk and for estheticians. And it's so important to start that from the beginning. Just like you were saying, I was like,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, Tara, you know.
But I think it's also true that it's not always all about money. Money is important. Money puts food on the table. Money shows value. But people want to be a part of something where they feel connected and where they feel heard and they feel seen and they feel like they're doing something positive to make a difference. And there is nothing wrong with being an entrepreneur. There's nothing wrong with being an employee. They're both incredible options. I made 6 figures as an employee, and I've made, 6 figures as an entrepreneur. It's not about the money. It's about, where do you feel the most fulfilled in your business, So I love that. So starting with the job posting, getting super clear. What do you think Lash Artist, is there any kind of commonality in what it is that they're looking for in a workplace?
I think with those that are looking for employee type positions, and granted, I speak to more entrepreneurs, so take it with a grain of salt, but I think part of what they need help with is confidence in the business owner that they're going to market them. I think there's kind of this flaw in beauty business owners that the employees are going to do the work and they're just going to kind of do their service and just collect extra money. Like, oh, why wouldn't I bring on a team? It's just more money in the bank that I don't have to do. But to build out a team that is going to consistently stay with you, so you're not constantly in firing and hiring mode, it's building out almost this trust, because you are responsible for their income, essentially. If your business tanks, so does their life. And that's a huge responsibility. And so making sure that you are, yes, being competitive in the marketplace, educating them on why maybe 50% commission is not a long-term business model, but also showing them as, here's what we're doing to market our aestheticians or our lash artists, so that all of the responsibility of getting new clients in the door is not on you. We're also going to offer you training on how to pre-book your clients, how to sell retail to them, so that you are really in control of how much money you can make. That they're not just left hands off, figure it out on your own. Because if you are leaving your hands off of your lash artist to figure out how to get clients in the door and book them, they're going to leave and go work for themselves, because there is no benefit to you taking 50% of their income or more if you're not also helping them to have a stable income. The only reason money becomes a priority is when they don't feel like they can provide for themselves or have a decent living.
It's almost just like throwing money at the problem. Like, if you're in, hey, I want to get out of the room, I want to work on my business, not in my business, I'm going to hire somebody. Like, when you hire somebody, that is a huge commitment of that. It's going to take a lot of time to develop them, to be clear in your communication so they know what is expected of them.
Yes, that is huge.
Oh gosh. Yeah. And that, I say, like, you start with the job posting, but there's the entire employee onboarding process, the employee handbook, like letting them know how and when to communicate with you, how and when to ask for time off, what the policies are, how to ask for raises. Like, if you
even the opportunities down the road, like over time, after you get kind of seasoned with hiring, you can start to see those that have a lot more opportunity in your business, that aside from a service provider, and maybe they want to get into being a supervisor or a manager or a lead trainer, or you'll take them to lash trainings or spa trainings or retail trainings. Just letting them know that there's more opportunity that you are happy to foster within them, so that they can continue to grow and evolve and be challenged under your guidance in your realm.
Yes, that is definitely something that should not be overlooked. I think it's such an important piece. And I always give so much credit to Dr. Stolley, who was the first doctor that I worked for back at MediSpa Maui. He was so good about letting us go to whatever training we wanted to. Yeah. And so any training, and in Hawaii, it's like, there's not a lot of, the
seventh Lomi massage training. I mean, how many times can you do that?
We would go to Oahu, but we would go to California quite a bit. And that's like a big expense for him as a business owner to send us to California to do these trainings, because it's a 5-hour flight. There's hotel, there's, time off work, but he really invested in us, and it showed in his business, But
how much loyalty did that create for you and the other employees, of like the opportunity that created, that a lot of other spa and business owners probably couldn't match, and they're just throwing 50% at you, just trying to pull you.
I only left because I got divorced. I mean, I was like, well, I'm not going to hang out on this island anymore. So.
The small island.
Small island. So, anyway, that's a whole nother story. But
another podcast, another day.
Yeah, another podcast, another day. No, but I mean, I was happy in that position. I learned a lot, and I did really grow when I came to the mainland. I mean, that was like a big thing for me. but my whole family's in Hawaii. Like that was kind of like my space. And he really was the best and is the best, I feel like, in that area. So it was a great place to work and learn and grow and,
personal and professional development.
Yeah. I like to, give him credit for, investing so much in our education in the beginning stages. Cool. So what else? Is there anything else that you feel would be super valuable to share before we sign off here with the estheticians, with, the people, our community, just about business building in general?
Yeah, I think what has made a major difference in me, both as a lash artist and now a business coach, and what I see with my students is, as unsexy as it sounds, is the mindset of the business owner and even the employee, and looking at your own limiting beliefs, your own view of the world, and have a little more compassion for what other people are going through. So I know it's especially in our industry, it tends to be a little dramatic sometimes. There's a lot of women with hormones running around. But we are all doing just a little bit.
Like pregnant lady over here.
Sorry, have I upset you? I'm sorry. But just kind of having compassion for what people are going through. I know a lot of times, at least with lash artists, they start to get very almost the victim mindset with their clients. If my clients did this or my clients no-showed me, and instead of looking at you being the cause of your reality or you are in the driver's seat of your life, the victim mentality puts you out of control of the decisions that you can make. And so when we're pointing at our clients did this, our clients did that, they no-showed me, can we look at ourselves at what responsibility and what part we took in that? To have a little bit more compassion for people, to have a little bit more empathy for, we're all doing the best we can. And if we look at somebody that, no matter how they've wronged us or whatever grievance we have, can we look at, they were trying to do the best they could in that situation? And can we maybe have a little bit more empathy towards them, especially when we're dealing with the general public, right? We get all kinds of crazies in there, but there is a reason why there is a miscommunication between you and your clients that we then kind of have this bad experience with them. Do we need to set a boundary? Do we need to have a different system or process in place? Is there something we said that they took the wrong way that maybe we can work on? Bad reviews, I find, are just a means of a client feeling like they had no other means to get heard from, that they tried to talk with you or they tried to share with you their experience and they didn't get the result they wanted from you. And so they're going to go online and make sure that they're heard somehow and try and really get you to listen. So if we can come from an attitude of empathy and understanding that we're all just trying to do the best we can, I think it'll go a long way, both in your customer relationships, building that trust, and even building out a team. People make mistakes all the time. Does that mean that their job is at risk? I don't know. That's a process you need to have in place. But understanding that for most part, people don't want to piss you off and that they do want to do what's best for you or for the business. And you need to be the leader that draws in those types of people as well.
I love that. Very good. All right. So where can our listeners find you and follow you if they want to stay in touch?
Absolutely. Instagram is our biggest platform, at the Lashpreneur, Preneur. We're also on YouTube, Facebook, and then thelashpreneur.com.
Perfect. We'll include all those links below here. Thank you so much, Tara. I love chatting with you. And if you guys want to keep this conversation going, be sure to head over to the Spa Marketing Made Easy Facebook group. Tag me if you've got any questions, and I'll catch you on the next episode.